thank you, Dr. Shuren, for being here, and I appreciate the conversations that we've had, and I appreciate you're going out to Minnesota, and I understand you're going out again soon.
Yes, that's correct.
I think we'd all agree that patient safety is a priority of Congress and the priority of the FDA, and it's my job and the job of the Health Committee to help you to protect patient safety to the best of our ability. As the chairman said, there are different perspectives on all of this, and I've spent many hours talking with patients across Minnesota, and they tell me that they want access to the newest treatments for their conditions, but too often these devices haven't been approved. And when I talk to medical device manufacturers in Minnesota, they tell me that they're frustrated that they are developing innovative devices, but they can't get them to patients because the FDA hasn't approved them. That's why earlier today I introduced, and I know we talked about this before the hearing a little bit, I introduced the Patient Access to Medical Innovation Act with my colleague Senator Alexander. This legislation will get devices to the market faster and more safely, I believe, by allowing the FDA to consult with experts. It also will also reward companies for developing devices for patients with rare conditions. So I believe this bill is a step toward making the process more efficient. And part of this is is about what some consider, a lot of groups consider, the overly restrictive conflict of interest rules that exist in terms of the experts who have been in the industry being able to, and you talked in your testimony about the attrition that you've had at the top of experts. And so that's what my legislation addresses in part. When Commissioner Hamburg testified here in July, she expressed an openness to working with us on this issue in the committee, and would you be willing to work with us as well?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we consider having access to the right experts to be critical, and so very happy to explore the issue with you. I'll add, it's one of the reasons why we're setting up a network of experts. Just a few weeks ago, we put out standard operating procedures for working with healthcare professional societies, scientific organizations, to be able to tap into their networks, that when we are dealing with challenging scientific questions, that we can rapidly identify who are the experts in the field, kind of supplement who the industry may be bringing in with experts and experts we may already have, so that we get a full discussion and we get the right people at the table to sort of help us address those tough questions.
And I really appreciate your working with Dale Wallstrom in Minnesota and talking about creating some kind of, or a number of centers of studying regulatory science, because that's really what we're talking about here. And we're talking about a system that is never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. But I don't think there are willy-nilly approvals of devices. I think that would be fair to say, wouldn't you?
That is very fair to say.
I just wanted to get into the 510K proposals that the IOM made. And I think you and I were in basic agreement on things that we didn't like about it. Can you talk a little bit, though, about the things that you did, including post-market surveillance and that kind of thing, and what you didn't?
So I'm a little hamstrung at the moment.
Okay,
our response to the report is currently in administration clearance. But what I can say is, you know, the IOM engaged in a thoughtful report. There's a lot of things in there. And, you know, to their credit, they also tried to look at a number of issues beyond just 510K, but things that might affect the program, like post-market. They looked at software. And I think in the debate, while there was one key recommendation on 510K program where we felt, no, we shouldn't get rid of the program in its entirety, there are many parts to that report that really merit, you know, a good and thorough conversation. And in our response, we'll kind of come back with what our perspective is on all of the recommendations that the Institute of Medicine made.
Well, I look forward to seeing that, and in fact, you said, and I quote, FDA believes the 510K process should not be eliminated. That's pretty,
And I still
pretty
stand
clear.
behind that.
I've heard from large and small companies in my state that your recent guidance relating to the modifications of the 510K process for devices is of concern. Specifically, they are concerned that the new draft guidance that you released does not provide adequate clarity on when a new 510K submission is necessary for a modified device. The company's telling me that the Center of Devices and Radiological Health may have greatly underestimated the increased workload from the proposed changes. That could seriously delay the review process, given that the stated goal of reforming the 510K process was to bring more clarity and efficiency to the process. These reports are concerning. How would you respond?
We've heard the same concerns, and our intent in putting out this guidance was not about seeing some big increase in the number of 510Ks being submitted to us. We put out the guidance because a manufacturer can make some changes to a device and they don't have to come back to the FDA. Now, where that line is crossed is not always clear. We've run into cases where manufacturers made changes, they should have come to us, they didn't, and those circumstances is very disruptive for the company, it's not good for patients, so the more clarity we can provide, the better. And we're seeing new emerging technologies, and we wanted to provide clarity in that space. We've heard from companies, though, the policy we put out would wind up leading to many more 510Ks being submitted. So what we asked industry to do is, and we've got a number of groups working on this, is to go back with individual companies and apply it. You know, say, here's how I interpret it, here's how we view the impact, give that back to us so we can go through it, because our intent is to get this policy right. It's one of the reasons, too, why we've extended the time for getting feedback on this guidance, because we want to make sure we work with industry, we get the right policy in place.
Thank you.